you one by one. But first, we're going to start with Dr. Jose Ramon Toots Albert. And the question here, the big question tonight is how reliable are surveys? Dr. Albert, of course, one of the countries, like we said, top statisticians, a former Benedictine monk, and a cancer survivor. Dr. Albert, I first listened to you, a talk of yours in the Jaime Ongpin annual memorial lecture about a week or so ago, and I thought it was a very definitive guide to surveys. Although it was a 1.5 hour, close to 2 hour talk, no, we're going to attempt to squeeze all that down to 8 minutes tonight. So we'll talk about surveys for elections. So let's begin with this, Dr. Albert. What kind of survey should we be wary of? What kind of survey should we be scared of, and why?
Well, let me just say that the ones that you should trust are probability surveys. There are other surveys that are being conducted that try to give a picture of just the respondents, but they do not necessarily represent the entire country. So these are the surveys that you should be worried about. The things like internet surveys, surveys through text, because they do not necessarily, they were not designed to give a good representation of the voice of the people throughout the country. Whenever you conduct a survey, essentially you need to make sure of representativeness. By design, you have to be very careful. So I would say not all surveys are equally good in terms of design and implementation.
Okay, by design. So hindi pwedeng random picking, like you don't go out into the street and then stop someone para mag-man on the street interview. Hindi ganon, no? That's not what we mean.
Well, yeah, the thing is, when you're doing that, when you say you're randomly picking on man on the street, the question there is, how sure are you that you're really doing something random, or you think it's random, but it's actually not? What you need to really do is have a protocol to actually select the respondent so that each respondent represents a certain group of people throughout the country. Unless you're able to do that, then I'm sorry to say that whatever results will just be representing the ones that you actually who responded to your survey, but they do not necessarily give a picture of what's really happening in the country.
Okay, what about Google Trends or, social media, the number of likes or retweets on Twitter, the number of shares or likes or loves on Facebook or Instagram, for example? That's not like a survey either, right?
Yes, again, that's not reliable because the problem with things that are on social media is, first, not everybody is connected to the net. Second is, even if you think of Google, let's say you're trying to look at Google Trends, the problem there is that not everybody even knows how to Google, even if you're on the net. So you are, again, not getting a good reading of the entire country. You're missing out.